Hi, and welcome along to the third episode of the Special Ones podcast with myself, co-host Finn Fox Mills, Tony Eid, and Robby Johansen, and a very special guest, Andrew Farrell. Andrew was the first draft pick in the 2013 Super Draft after 2 years at Louisville. Andrew has gone on to make over 200 appearances for the Revs, including a handful of playoff seasons against stellar teams in an MLS Cup final back in 2014. Andrew Farrell cemented himself as one of the league's best defenders after he was selected to the MLS All-Star Game back in 2016. Andrew, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, mate.
Well,
How you
How's it
doing?
going?
connecting. There we go.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
How you doing?
Good.
I'm chilling, man. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming on.
Excited to have you.
That's
Yeah.
a nice ass chair.
Yeah,
That's a quality.
It's like a gaming chair.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I've been watching your streams, man. You've been killing it on Fortnite.
Yeah, I've been trying to
Yo,
get that.
squad up. We've been playing Fortnite too, actually. I just hate
Really?
that there's so many bots.
Yeah, I know with squads and matchmaking. Yeah, it's getting a little bit better though. I think they've changed it. Like it's like getting a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah. They removed matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking, I think,
Yeah,
which is better.
I feel that, brother. So you guys hanging in there with this quarantine? Are you guys what is you guys like in school right now or what? Like online?
Yeah.
School?
Yeah,
We're most sophomores in college.
yeah. Finn and I attend UVM, and we
Okay.
finished last week actually. So now we're off.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's still sad though.
Yeah.
Not the end of this. The year we wanted. I'm sure you
Right.
feel the same way with the season. Only 2 or 3 games in,
But absolutely.
out of nowhere, just
It's
boom.
crazy.
It just happened so
Dang.
quickly out of nowhere. I'm sure, like every sport
Yeah,
that hits
It
so
was
hard.
just- Yeah, just like I mean, you kind of saw it from like afar. Like during preseason, we were just like kind of talking about it, but like it didn't seem like it was gonna kind of hit here, I guess. And then like we go 2 games in, and still kind of people are talking about it. And then like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, like are we gonna be playing like any games the rest of the season? So I don't know. It's been a weird. I think everybody's kind of in this like limbo in between, like not knowing what to do and kind of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the shirt, man. Thunder before.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a good
Classic.
good
I think
beat.
we all watched The Office like 3 times this quarantine.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's
So
just
good.
the most
I love it.
comforting show. It brings you back to the good old days.
The good old days.
So, Andrew, we'll just hop straight into it. You were the number 1 pick in the 2013 MLS Super Draft.
Yeah.
So, what kind of feeling was that for you? And, was that like a lot of pressure for you going into your first season, the number 1 draft pick? So, obviously, like most players that are going into the MLS have, sort of expectations. But,
Mhm.
what sort of feelings did you have in your first season going in?
Yeah, no, I think I think there was definitely pressure. I think I wanted to, but it's more pressure kind of put. I mean, I'm sure there's pressure from from the organization. They wanted me to obviously do well, and obviously the coaches wanted me to do well because they're the ones who put faith in me and stuff. But I think the most pressure was kind of put on myself, just because I wanted to. I mean, you guys play soccer, so you guys know like any game, any practice, you want to do the best you can. You want to you want to ball out, and so that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't necessarily, I guess. I wasn't like nervous about, being like a bust or like that. I knew I could play at the level. It was just more, getting used to getting used to the level and kind of just, I knew they saw something in me. And like, so they wouldn't, draft you necessarily that high if they didn't see like potential and so, I was confident, that I could do well, and I just wanted to just play. I just wanted to, no matter how hard it was going to be. And we had a really, pretty, good players at my positions. And so I was just like trying to, battle and didn't put high expectations on myself of having to necessarily, be a starter, be a defender of the year, blah, 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 whatever. I just wanted to play and get better every day.
Yeah, I mean, when you got drafted, you were drafted into a very strong Revolution team that was obviously made the playoffs, and I think your first season on the team.
Yeah.
And obviously in 2014, you guys had that stellar run in the playoffs after the addition of Jermaine Jones, falling just short in the final to the LA Galaxy. But for someone like you who just obviously was drafted from Louisville, and you're entering your rookie season, and you're still able to get 30 plus appearances in your first season. What does that kind of say about you and what you're able to bring to the New England Revolution?
Yeah, I think it was just my college coach at University of Louisville, Ken Lola. He did a good job. A couple years before that, I mean, we'd had some guys who go in the draft. Nick DeLeon, who's still playing for Toronto. Austin Berry played as a rookie of the year his first year. Colin Rolfe. There's a lot of guys that Kenny Walker played for the Galaxy. There's a lot of guys who got drafted before me, and I kind of just knew that I was at the right school and they prepared me the right way to just go in and just be myself. I tell that every time I like talk to younger team and stuff like that. I always tell them I was never the best player on any of my teams. Maybe like kindergarten, but like not really. Like none of the teams ever been the best player on any team. Most talented, never. But I was always one of the hardest working like players. That's something I always took pride in. It's like just every day, every practice, just trying to just work hard. Like I'm going against Teal Bunbury. Like I'm just gonna try to shut him down no matter what. If he gets by me, whatever, I'm gonna keep on going. And so that's something that I think my coach and my parents and a lot of my coaches throughout my middle school, high school, college, like taught me that just always got to put the work in, and you're always going to be able to have a chance to make it. And so that's what I took into my first year, just be available, try to be as healthy as possible, and just work hard. Because like veterans, I mean, I feel like I'm a veteran now. Like when young kids come in and they don't have the right attitude about working, it's annoying. And so I knew that was something that the veterans would kind of look down if you didn't put in the work. And so that's what I try to do, just work hard. And, obviously it's worked out so far, but still to this day, that's something I always pride myself in, is just every day. You never know. I mean, we've got short careers, man. So you got to take advantage of every single day.
Yeah, I think that goes to show like how far hard work can get you, and that's just very inspirational.
Yeah.
Andrew, I had a question. So the Revs, they're my local club,
Mm-hmm.
and having watched the games throughout the years, like including many live at Gillette, I think it's fair to say that we've experienced somewhat of a roller coaster throughout the years.
Yeah.
You, having been there for 7 years, you've seen players and managers come in and out of the dressing room, and you've experienced all the ups and downs, like directly on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, like, how, in your experience, how has the club changed, and what do you anticipate for the Revs, like going forward in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, it's been a roller coaster definitely throughout 7 years, but even between seasons, it's been in certain seasons it's been up and down, and losing 11 games in the season, and then in the summer, and then coming back and going to the MLS Cup and going to MLS Open Cup final, and it's just I mean, that's how the MLS is it's up and down. You got to kind of try to keep your highs, in check, and then keep your lows at a minimum, and that's how successful teams and organizations do it. But definitely. With Bruce coming in, I think there's a lot of ambition. He's somebody who's won everywhere he's gone, and he's a very good manager. He knows the X's and O's and the tactics of play. But I think one of his biggest attributes is he's a very good manager of people, and I think that's something that I think Jurgen Klopp, the Pep Guardiolas, the top managers know how to get the best out of the players, and that's something that I think Bruce has done, and I think the Crafts have supported that. And Bruce wouldn't be here if he didn't believe in this team and didn't believe in he'd bring the right players to win, to bring a championship here. And I mean, there's a lot of ambition, especially with the new facility coming. Well, not coming, but the new facility is just top notch. I'm sure you guys have to come by and check it out someday, man. It's unbelievable, but there's a lot of ambition in the club, and you can see that with having the 3 DPs signed. I don't think we've never had 3 DP slots filled up. All attacking guys, just bringing in TAM players who won Premier Leagues. I mean, you name it, and we've kind of done it. And so it's a team that can compete with the best of them. And I think that obviously frustrating that we couldn't. I mean, hopefully we can continue the season, but I think there's a lot of promise for this season and the years to come.
Yeah, totally. And, I have a kind of a 2-parter question for you there.
Okay.
So the MLS has been a growing league for the last, couple of decades now, and they've been able to attract some of the best, players in the latter stages of their careers, but even players like Giovinco who come in, in their prime. So do you think the fact that the MLS is such a unique format to other football leagues helps it as a growing league, or do you think the fact that there's no relegation or promotion can hold it back in some ways?
Yeah, Yeah, so I think it's both. I mean, obviously there's guys who come in their prime and obviously do well, but there's guys. I mean, I still say Zlatan was still in his prime because I mean he's going and scoring goals. So like
Oh, yeah.
there's superstars that come here and I think MLS is a league which is very unique in a way which um, some guys like to experience the maybe I don't know if it's not as much pressure, but um, they can. I mean, Zlatan can. I mean, he's a big name, so he could go to LA and people would recognize him, But he could go to a game in Houston and maybe not everybody knows who he is. He could walk around, So like having that little bit of freedom is I think nice for some of those guys who played in Europe just to come here and kind of have a little bit of a space that their families could be walking around and doing stuff like that. But I think it's been shown that we bring in guys like Miguel Almiron, guys like Jose Martinez, Ezequiel Barco, who are guys who are I'm sure will be playing in the top, the big league soon. And they come in here because I think they see something, they see potential, they can see that the league is growing and they can, the teams and European teams are looking at players like Alfonso Davies, I mean, top 5 left back in the world probably right
I'd say
now. I
the best.
mean,
I'd
I
say the
don't know.
best right now. He's,
So
he's,
like,
he's my favorite left back right
it's
now.
just I think it's a little bit of both where there's very good positives to it, but also I mean there's always the negatives. It seems like it's like the stars coming here to retire, but I mean since my first year here, the league has grown so much. It's crazy. I mean, and it's going to keep on getting better and better. Like the level of play is just incredible now. Like it's really good.
So you're an Arsenal fan, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my friend and I here on the right side of the screen, both big Spurs fans. I have cousins that have season tickets. They go to every game.
Okay.
So my question to you is, I'm sure you saw the news that happened with Lacazette over the week, and
Yes.
just general news going on with some players, breaking quarantine, setting bad examples for others.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot in yesterday's episode, but what do you think the Premier League should do, and what does the MLS do for disciplinary action to players who obviously they have a role as influencers on not just people that watch the game but little kids as well. So what does the MLS do, and what should the leagues like the Premier League do to kind of mitigate that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I mean, yeah, that's a tough situation. I don't know. I saw the I follow AFTV, so I saw the clip and them talking about it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously not a good look. Obviously, you want to, as especially over there, like those guys are looked as, very very important, people in the community and for the fans, and so it's definitely not a good look. I don't know how they're gonna like deal with that in MLS. I mean, I don't think anybody's really. I guess there's a player for I think Vancouver, a team he was like outside playing with just in the park when he should be quarantined. So I think he got he was supposed to had to quarantine himself, but I don't know what the disciplinary is for that necessarily. I'm sure there's something though, or probably a fine or something like that. But yeah, it's not good for Lacazette. If it's true or if it's not true, it's not a good look. And there's been a couple, I think Kyle Walker had a party and a couple guys, but there's also been the bad side with the Dele Alli thing. So it's been a crazy time. But yeah, I just I think it's not a good look. You gotta even though I feel like EPL players are not above the law, but you gotta they're seen to be they're looked upon as above the law, I guess, because they're people worship those players over there, but they shouldn't. They should be abiding by the same rules as everybody else.
Yeah, totally.
Just speaking about just up and down seasons, obviously Arsenal have had an up and down season if there ever was such a thing. Obviously, with the new manager coming in, Mikel Arteta, they've seen kind of a rebirth of basically the Arsenal style of playing. And before the whole quarantine lockdown started, they were picking up a bit of form. So that was good to see from a neutral's point of view. Now, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, what do you make of the transition and just kind of the rebuilding process that is going on, and how long do you think it will take? And obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about the future of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Do you think he will stay? Do you think he wants to stay? What do you think will happen in the near future of Arsenal Football Club?
I don't know. I think he's I think right now he's probably our best player, by far. or not by far, but we have good play. We have really good young players like Saka. I mean, we got good players, but I think he's like obviously our most probably known player. I don't know if I think he might leave. I think he might, even though he's saying like he's not want to. He's gonna stay here. I think he's always wanted to play for the Madrid or Barcelona, and I think that's like hard to turn down, especially if one of those teams comes calling. I think I love what Arteta's done. I think kind of like stripped everything down a little bit, and even though it's like kind of been painful because our defense has been shocking right now, but except some of the guys have been playing really good. Mustafi's been playing really good lately. So like it's so funny how guys under like it's like the same player, but a new manager comes in and it just changes like you have a new little chance at life and new chance at a team. And so, but I mean to compete with the Man Cities, the Liverpools, I'm not gonna throw Tottenham in there. No.
Come on, Champions League.
No, I mean, but just
put Chelsea in there at least.
Yeah, Chelsea's up there.
Yeah, there you go.
And they have a good like youth. I mean,
they're like 6 points ahead of us. What are we on?
I'm just saying, it's just to compete with those teams. Yeah, we're gonna have to. I feel like we're still a little bit a ways, but I think I like how the progress is going with Arteta. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal's been seen as that team over the last since the Invincibles. I've always seen Arsenal as this team that always has this like nice core of young players. They're not a stepping stone club. I won't call them that because I'll admit as a Spurs fan, we are a bit of a stepping stone club. We've been that since I've been a fan, at least since 2010 Cup. But do you think this current kind of group of youngsters at Arsenal will live up to the hype? And do you think Mikel Arteta will? Because you know how quick managers come and go in the Premier League. Do you think he can stick around for long enough to prove that this young core that he's kind of building as well is going to step up to the potential?
I think so. I think he has a little bit more of a leash than a couple of the other managers, just being a former player. I think how he's done and transitioned the team, even though there's been like some pretty bad results. I think the board supports him. I think the fans are crazy. So like the fans get like 10 on him in like two bad games, and but I think he has more of a leash than for other former managers, and I do like the core, but I just think like we're gonna have to spend some to bring in. We're gonna have to. I just don't know if like we have the players that is gonna be to compete with the top teams right now. I mean, yeah, they'll turn into great players, but you're gonna have to buy some guys that can, you got the. Well, Pepe, I hope Pepe turns it around. Or not turn around. He's doing better, but I don't know if Ozil has a place. I think I just don't know if he's gonna be here, and that's tough. I love him, but just might not be the right fit. And then so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm mostly disappointed that there's not going to be, because even if the Premier League does resume, we're not going to get that home North London derby. You guys had the advantage of having the game at home earlier this season that we should have won 2-0 up. Robby, do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the most frustrating game of the season? Because we've gone through – I think Spurs and Arsenal have had kind of the same sort of season where we've gone through two managers. Yeah. The players haven't been living up to the potential.
No.
It's been a roller coaster, and I really hope that we can get back to watching, Premier League football.
I miss it, man. I was so happy with Bundesliga. It was just so weird not having like the fans, but it was good to at least watch some footy.
Yeah, because I feel like with the MLS, the return is probably gonna be the hardest out of all the leagues for the simple fact that we have like all these different quarantine rules in different states, and like, they're kind of starting to restrict travel in some places. Like I'm trying to get back to Vermont, and I have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, like seeing the Bundesliga and the system they have, do you think the MLS at some point in the next year could kind of adopt the same sort of no fans policy, 5 substitution rule? Do you see that happening to the MLS, or do you think it's too far-fetched with the amount of travel that has to
I think so. I think it'd have to be at like a centralized location, kind of.
That's what the NBA was talking
about it. Yeah. Because, I think they've been talking about it. So there's been like rumors and stuff like that about doing that. I'm just not sure exactly how much is supposed to be out to the public or not. But there's been talk. But there's been talks about like doing that kind of stuff. But the league and I think they want to get something going on. Like they want to play at some point this year. So I think there will be games at some point this year. Like I'm pretty positive about that. Just depends on how we're going to do it and what format it's going to be in.
This is kind of out of the way, but I'm here in Austin, and apparently we're starting up an MLS squad here, Austin FC. I'm not sure That's like 100% definite.
Austin
That's
FC, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, team in, yeah. I think it's was it backed by what's his name? Is it McConaughey? What's the actor's name? McConaughey?
Ranieri's don't even. Oh no, not.
Jeff, it's what's his face, man?
Matthew McConaughey, right?
McConaughey, yeah.
He teaches at
Oh, they're talking about the backer of Austin FC. I was like,
Yeah. But I think so. I think it's. I'm pretty sure I think it's like guaranteed. I think they're in.
It's funny that there's no sports teams other than the Longhorns in Austin. So
it's gonna be a good vibe there.
Yeah,
Like
to be bringing the MLS to such a big city, that's gonna be great as well. That's good news.
Yeah, it's gonna be popular in Austin.
Andrew, I really wanted to ask you about this because this is something that Revolution fans have been talking about for the last 10 years, and that's the creation of this new stadium that has been spoken about for such a long time now.
Yeah.
And there have been times where it seems like there has been progress made, and then there have been times where it's kind of laid back a little. And obviously, with the new facilities, it's a good sign of things to come. But just like looking at the likes of LAFC, Inter Miami, two expansion teams that have small, compact stadiums that can sell out every game, no matter who's coming to town. And obviously, that builds good atmosphere, and it kind of gives players that extra edge to go and compete and win games.
Yeah.
How much would a new stadium in somewhere in Boston that would sell out and fill out? How much of a boost would that give to you and the rest of the team?
Yeah, no, I think it'd be unbelievable. I mean, I love Gillette, and when we get our crowd, I mean, I love playing, in front of 10 people, one person, 20,000, 15,000. I love it. But yeah, of course, you see the atmosphere that Atlanta has and that she has on those TV games and stuff like that, and it's just really cool to see, and it'd be awesome to see in Boston. And I'll just say I think Bruce wouldn't have come here unless something that was in the plans. So I'll just leave that at that. But yeah, I think it'll at some point it'll definitely be something. Yeah.
Andrew, what's been your favorite moments as a Revolution player in these 7 years?
I think, to be honest, I mean, obviously playing MLS Cup, and that year was great. And going Open Cup also that in the final. But I think the last game. No, it wasn't the last game, but last home game against New York City FC when he clinched the playoff spot last season. That was crazy. That was so much that was just the locker room. We were so pumped. Before the game, it was amped. You could feel the tension. Good crowd. It was night game. And just Teal and Gustavo's goals were crazy, but we played a really good, solid game throughout. And it's just that was one of my favorite games we've ever played, and that was a cool moment, just clinching because haven't been in the playoffs in 4 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years, 3 or 4 years.
3 years. 3 years.
Something like that. And it was just just finally get back in to to the dance, and it was just so much fun.
So on the topic, go ahead.
I can still recall Brad Feldman's commentary of that Gustavo Bou goal. I mean, that was great. Still getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Then you obviously you made an MLS All-Star appearance back in 2016.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that was against the club you supported, Arsenal. That must have been a very special moment for you in your career.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, I was just blown away. But yeah, it was the whole weekend was fun. Got to do a bunch of all the superstars didn't want to do any of the appearances or anything, but the appearances paid so well. I was yeah, of course I'll do all these. Go play FIFA, go hang out with fans. It was yeah, I'll do all these. None of the superstars wanted to do it, so I was racking up all side money. But then playing against Arsenal in that new Alborz stadium was pretty sick, and it was a packed crowd, and just going against youngsters now that I'm yeah, I played against this guy and that was Xhaka's first year. But yeah, it was really cool to just see and play with guys who and being logging with guys who I just idolized for the longest time. It was a really, really cool experience.
That is really cool. And just going back to the topic of NYCFC, I remember my first MLS game was a New York City FC game.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, and Robby was with me too. It was a really good night. But so how do you feel about expansion teams in the league? Do you think that the growth of the league and by numbers of teams, do you think that helps the league grow? Or do you feel like it's kind of, an unfair advantage when teams like NYCFC or LAFC come in with a lot of money and they're able to purchase all these players? Do you think it's a positive or a negative for the league?
I think it's good. I think it makes it more competitive. I mean, teams can't, I think it makes teams understand that if they don't spend money, they're going to fall behind. And then it's just, what's the point, So I think it's making a lot of teams invest. Look at a lot DP. You have to fill in all DP spots if you want to really compete. TAM money, all that kind of stuff that is making everybody around you. It like raises the level and just makes everybody have to kind of keep up if you want to be competitive. So I think it's good. I think obviously at some point you can't expand to so many teams, or it might have to switch it up and have like 3 conferences, or maybe just play East and West, and then or I might have to change up the format, and at some point I'll have to do that. But yeah, I mean, new teams come in with the money and stuff. I mean, there's teams that have done it really well. Like the Atlanta's, when Seattle came in, Portland came in. I mean, teams like that, who've done New York City FC, who have been successful. But there's also the other side of it where teams haven't done as good, the first couple of years, and it's like they came in with money, but even if you come in with money, you still got to do it the right way. If not, spend it the right way, get the right players. You can hit or miss on a lot of things, and it can change how your organization is.
Yeah, and another thing, just bouncing back to the Premier League, me and my friends have been having a debate about this. Do you think Newcastle, with the expansion, do you think they're going to be a top 4, not just contender, but do you think they can make the top 4? Robbie says no. I say it'll take them a year.
With the new owner, you're saying?
Yeah. Do you think because Man City, it only took them 2 seasons to become a top team.
I don't know, man.
The amount of money being put into the club now, it sucks for us because we're already struggling to make top 4.
I don't think there's going to be – I mean, it really depends on who they buy. But, I mean, and they can buy, basically anybody. But I don't know. I don't think so right away. But I'm sure it will definitely have an impact. They'll be able to spend and bring in the players that they, want. And they'll probably have to overspend because, they have – Newcastle's great history. But it's just like recent history hasn't been like the best. So, like, is like Jadon Sancho gonna, go to? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Like he'll want to play for Man United, Man City. But who knows? Money it hits different for some people and for others. So it'll be tough, but they will get really good players in. Just depends on how those players gel. Like it all depends on that and who's the manager, who's a lot of things take into consideration, but. Money does help a lot.
Yeah, and they still, they even without the takeover, they still have a pretty solid team. Obviously, Miguel Almiron is kind of finding himself in the Premier League. Alain Saint-Maximin was a fantastic signing for Newcastle. So even if they can't attract the talent such as the Jadon Sanchez, they don't have the money for that. They can still build a very strong team. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be enough to finish top 4, but definitely a team that can challenge for the Europa League places for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But like now it's like they're going against like not whole cities, Wolves and like Leicester cities, like, and Arsenal is like Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, like Man City, Liverpool, like, it's just like there's so many teams that just like, and then Everton, like, what are they going to be looking like? It's just, it's hard. It's hard to Premier League. That's why Premier League is so fun. And this is going to be great because it's going to be another team that's going to be competing for, it's going to be good. I just wish.
Do you think the Premier League's the best league in the world? Obviously, you might be a little biased to the MLS.
Right. I don't know if it's – I don't know. That's tough. Top to bottom, I think, the first division, Premier League is probably like the most competitive. So, like, I like to watch it. But, you got Bayern, Dortmund, Leipzig. They have really good, like their top 5, 6, 7 teams are really good. But like the top team, I guess, I don't know. I look at it like as in like Barcelona, Madrid, and then like the bottom of the Liga. Like what's the biggest difference there between the Premier League, the top? There's a big difference, but like in between, like the middle, like 8 through whatever, 14. Like I don't know. I feel like those teams could on any day. Any of the teams can beat Arsenal any day right now. But like it's like the most I think it's the best league because it's the most competitive, like top to bottom. I think on any given day, like you got I don't even know Wolves can beat Liverpool. I think pretty sure they did, didn't they? Did they beat Liverpool this year?
They're close.
They're close.
Knocked them out of the cup.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
And
no,
it's crazy because Wolves were just a newly promoted team. And for them to be able to, I mean, they were one of the favorites to win the Europa League. So that just shows, the strength and the depth of the Premier League. It's just great to see.
Yeah. And like just the team chemistry, the manager knows what players he wanted to bring in. It's like half the team's like Portuguese. Like it's like he just knows how to get them, So that's like team chemistry is like a big, liking your coworkers is also a big difference though,
Yeah, I mean, to your point there, do you think teams like Wolves and Sheffield United and Leicester City especially, how hard done by do you think they'll feel if the Premier League doesn't resume?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
Tough for them
because all the momentum's gone.
Yeah, and